Area Zero, a home to dinosaurs, robots, and even mobs. In this series, my goal is to figure out the secrets of the Great Crater of Paldea. Last time, we looked into the Great Crater of Paldea itself to figure out its origins, and while we didn't get a proper answer, we were at least able to get a better understanding of what we're working with. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on the upcoming DLC for Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet, the hidden treasure of Area Zero, along with the mysterious Pokémon Terapagos. By looking into what's in store with the Indigo Disc, there is a chance that we could finally solve the mystery of what exactly is the hidden treasure of Area Zero. My name is Tak, and I am here to broaden your horizon. Before we begin, please know that there are many spoilers ahead, so only continue with this in mind. With all that said and done, let us fly to Kitakami as we embark on part 1 of the DLC, the Teal Mask. In part 1 of the secret treasure of Area Zero, we are invited to go on a school field trip to the mysterious land of Kitakami, a location far away from Paldea. For this trip, our guide is Briar, a teacher from the Blueberry Academy. More on her later. While not confirmed, it is believed that this land is inspired by the city of Kitakami, which is a part of the Iwata Prefecture. Something I find interesting about this location is that it seems to be a representation of the past, having a large assortment of references and Pokémon from the first 4 generations, all coexisting within a more natural and cultural-based environment. Another element that I find interesting is that this land was the first instance of the terrestrial phenomena being seen outside of Paldea, showing that the presence of these mysterious crystals is not exclusively from that region. This makes me think about my meteor theory from the last video. Could this mean there are chunks of the meteor spread across the globe? Backtracking to Kitakami itself, we get to see the presence of Ogerpon and her terror masks, which provide new forms for her to use rather than hats. This is interesting to me because up until now, we've only seen the same 18 hats used by every Pokémon. This makes me wonder if there are other instances of form changes via terrestrialization. Now that we understand the Teal Mask, it's time to consider what's coming up. So let's travel once again and enter into the Indigo Disc. In part 2 of the DLC, we will be entering into the Blueberry Academy, an underwater school within the borders of the Unova region. Contrasting Kitakami, Blueberry seems to represent the future. This is shown by it being within Unova, the first region in the mainline series to not be based on a location within Japan. Another way this is shown is in the English localization, which uses the English word for the respective berry it's named after, unlike naranja and uva, which uses Spanish. At least in these games, English is often used to present the future, as shown in Mirairan's various forms using English words regardless of language, pushing even further the general futuristic vibe. But why is Blueberry underwater? What does that have to do with any of this? In my search, I had to consider other instances of abyssal structures within the series. One structure I noted were the Abyssal Ruins from Black and White. The Abyssal Ruins, also known as the Undersea Ruins in Japan, was a dungeon containing various relics that you could collect within a step limit. And once that step limit is reached, you will be gushed away back to the surface by a torrent of water. But wait, relics? Like treasure? Also, interestingly, some sources claim the ruins resemble the Yonaguni Monument, a rock formation found underwater near the coasts of the Ryukyu Islands. Speaking of coasts, I also wanted to bring up VithirMoraes, a man-made island in the Alola region. In-game, this artificial island acted as the base headquarters of the Aether Foundation. Now, while a majority of VithirMoraes design-wise is fictitious, it is believed that Aether is based on the Papahānau Amokuākea Marine National Monument, or PMNM for short, which is one of the largest marine conservation areas in the world. Now, nothing in the advertisements or anything in Part 1 in particular mention Aether at all, but I wonder if it's possible that the Foundation had a hand in its development. Maybe not, but it was worth pointing out, because while the games promote Blueberry like a recent man-made structure, we don't know too much about it, or even how it was developed. So it's hard to say for now how much these other landmarks tie to the Academy itself. Only time will tell. When I looked at fiction across the globe, however, there are two very notable locations that I found interesting. The first location I've thought about was Atlantis, the fictional island forgotten to time. Originally, I applied this to Area Zero, but now I wonder if this could apply to here as well. In pop culture, we often associate Atlantis with the visual of a lost city underwater, rather than the entire island it was originally introduced as in Plato's works. But aside from that, there isn't much more to connect between that and this. The other location I've looked at, however, is a lot more interesting. The Ryugu Palace, also known as the Dragon Palace in English, is a fantastical structure mentioned in many folktales. In these narratives, it is often described as a large palace within the water, and acts as a home to the dragon deity of the sea, as well as the ocean's royal court. This feels more likely because there are a few details revealed for the upcoming DLC that might be referencing a story with the Dragon Palace. The Tale of Urashima Taro. Urashima Taro was a young fisher boy who, by riding on a turtle, went deep into the sea and entered the Dragon Palace. Once there, he met Otohime, the daughter of the Dragon of the Sea. Some events later, the boy prepared for his departure. But, before he left, the princess gave him a box with a warning to never open it. After that, Taro returned to his home village on the surface, only for him to no longer recognize anyone there. For it turned out that he was away for 300 years. Once he learned this, he realized that all he had left was the box that he got from the princess. And so, after forgetting the warning, Taro opened the box, turning him into an old man, for it contained all of the years that he's lost. I think this narrative is interesting because it indirectly tells the story on the passage of time, sort of like Rip Van Winkle. This is also quite fitting given Scarlet and Violet's motifs on the past and future. As for the visual elements that reference this tale, there are two major instances that I want to point out. The first one is the new character Lacey, one of the members of the BB League and a student at the Academy. In Japan, her name is Taro, which, while being a different spelling, shares the same name as the folklore character as well as my third favorite flavor of boba tea. It's hard to tell if she'll be super relevant or not in the long term, but given how she was first advertised, it makes me wonder. As for the other connection, I bring in Terapagos. Terapagos, appearance-wise, is a turtle with visual cues of the Minogame, a turtle with a long life and lengthy strands of algae. This is shown with the light blue fuzzy elements across its body. Aside from this, there is not much known about this Pokémon. Not its type, size, or anything. Just the name, that it has two forms, and that it is the mysterious disc Pokémon. So I wonder how Terapagos would tie to Blueberry itself, if at all. Before we move on though, I want to quickly talk more about Terapagos, because while we don't know what typing it has, I have at least 3 theories as to what it is. The first one is pure normal type. That is because while it has strengths and weaknesses, normal is often associated with being typeless, as shown with Arceus and Savali, as they have their base typing be normal when they lack a held item. My second theory is Rock Dragon. For rock, that is because then it would share a typing with Glimmora, another Pokémon tied to the terrestrial phenomena. My other reason is that it would help encourage its ties to the Terra Crystals. The dragon typing, meanwhile, is from dragon often being associated with a primordial legendary that has a major influence on the region. From Giratina to Ultra Necrozma to even Eternatus. Another reason is because then it could tie into the Dragon Palace, with it being both the turtle that took Urashima to the palace, as well as the Dragon of the Sea. One last reason for this is because then it could tie into Koraidon and Miraidon's dragon typing. Not so they form some sort of legendary trio, but to at least indicate that they have a connection. Finally, my last theory is tied to something we saw in the trailers. A few months ago, by the time of this recording, there was a trailer that revealed the 19th Terra type. While we don't know much about it, there was an implication that it is some sort of ultimate Terra type. We don't have a name for it, but so far there have been various names people have given it, such as Omni-type, Rainbow, Terrestrial, Ultra, etc. For the sake of this series, I'm going to call it the 19th Terra type until we have a confirmed name. So basically, I think at least one of its forms is the 19th Terra, given it's believed that the larger turtle form is a Terra form, similar to that of Ogerpon's. So I believe it is likely that it will at least change into this special typing to convey its association and importance to the terrestrial phenomena. The 19th Terra type. What is it exactly? I have some more thoughts on this particular phenomena, but before we get more into it, I have one more thing I wish to talk about, that being a particular instructor from Blueberry, Briar. Earlier, I've mentioned that we were taking a trip to Kitakami with a guide named Briar, an instructor from the Blueberry Academy. The advertisements didn't tell us much about her, but the teal mask implied a lot more. When you meet for the first time before your trip, Briar tells you she is related to Heath, a member of the Area Zero expedition team and author of the Scarlet and Violet book. She then pulls out a quick uncensored passage that confirms that the peculiar disc legendary within the book was dubbed Terapagos. During this conversation, Briar also admits that she has been pestering Paldea's Pokémon League to obtain permission to enter within Area Zero. This makes me wonder if it means that she will be involved with the alleged return to Area Zero as mentioned in the trailers. When it comes to Briar, though, there is something about her Scarlet and Violet outfit that stands out to me. Because, while multiple characters wear colors associated with these games, they are usually a character from the Academy and have a different outfit depending on which version they're in. In the case of Briar, though, it's a little different. She wears this hybrid color scheme of scarlet, violet, and gold regardless of version, making her come off as this unique middle ground character for the DLC. Another detail that stands out to me about Briar's appearance is that she aligns with the description of the Babylon the Great, a symbolic figure associated with the Beast of Revelation found in the Bible. Let me provide the text now. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet, and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand filled with abominable things, and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her forehead was a mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and the abominations of the earth. The New International Version of the Book of Revelation 17, verse 4 and 5. While I could never get a confirmation for this being intentional, this description made me think of Briar and caused her to become even more imposing to me than ever before. Not just because of the colors, but also because of the decorative gold embroidery on her clothing as well as her Terra-based earrings. The games have a large emphasis for seeking treasure, so I wonder if Briar's design aligning with this description is more intentional than it seems, making me think she will be relevant to the climax of the story. To explain how, though, I need to answer another question. What is the secret treasure of Area Zero? In the trailers for the Indigo Disc, it has been said that after challenging the BB League, you will return to Area Zero in hopes of unlocking the remaining mysteries of the Great Crater. So far, while we don't know too much about the specifics, there are many hints as to what this climax will hold. So far, they consist of Briar's desire to enter the Great Pit, the Disc legendary Terapagos, and the Terastal phenomena. So how are they all connected? Well, for this, I have a theory. First off, I think it's likely you will return to the pit either with or because of Briar, who will finally get permission to enter into the pit. Once there, we will go to new areas with unfamiliar Paradox Pokémon, including draconic dinosaurs that resemble beasts resurrected after their demise in a fire, and psychic robots that imitate horned ungulates that protected the land with their blades. Then, as you go deeper, you will finally reach the location of the secret treasure. For the treasure itself, though, I've considered it being this. The secret treasure is some sort of ultimate Terra crystal, likely the same one containing the 19th Terra type. Let me explain. So, as I've said in the last video, there is a belief that the Terastal phenomena is capable of making wishes come to life in some form or another. This was shown with the AI professors as well as the Paradox Pokémon. Also, it is worth noting that in Kitakami, Briar mentions that the Terra Crystals have the ability to make you communicate with those who have been long gone. Now consider that a few months back, along with the trailer revealing the 19th Terra, there was a brief clip of a crown containing the symbols of all 18 types. So I feel as though this might be the hat associated with the 19th Terra type. No, not hat, crown. This, however, wasn't the only time the crown was shown, for it was also seen in the Scarlet and Violet book with it being on top of the artistic image of the disc legendary Terapagos. But that's not all. For if you look underneath Terapagos, you will see that there is a peculiar orb coated in hexagons underneath. Notice how these hexagons also resemble the crystals on the crown and Terra symbol. So with this, it makes me wonder if the crown is another instance of a wish coming to life. Maybe even a desire to become the ultimate typing? So then, once you reach it, you will be able to use this Terra typing yourself. That, or fight Briar for it. But, is this truly what will happen? Is this truly the secret treasure of Area Zero? It's hard to say for now, but with what we know so far, I feel like it's likely. But for now, here are my closing thoughts. Terapagos, the Terastal phenomena, and the 19th Terra type. The release of the hidden treasure of Area Zero, the Indigo Disc, is imminent. And already I have a lot of thoughts and speculation on what we've seen so far. Is the 19th Terra truly the ultimate type? How do the Paradox Pokémon tie into all of this? And will the hidden treasure truly make our desires come to life? That's all I have to say for now, so in the meantime, I'll get ready for the final chapter of these games. So until we meet again, thank you for watching. Hey, so I just want to give a special thanks to QuasarX. If it wasn't for his help, this video would not have been out in time. So go check out his YouTube channel using the link in the description. Anyways, I'll see you all after we traverse through the Indigo Disc.